Hello, everybody. I'm here, the tea is here, and Shirley is here. You may not have met Shirley yet. This is Shirley, and she started off so beautiful, but I can't seem to keep her alive. Anyway, we're doing our best. We got sunlight at a distance. Maybe there was too much sunlight. I don't know. I blame me, it's my fault. But anyway, it has been a while since I have done a book recommendations or what I've been reading slash read. And I think the last time I did that was January to April. I think I was trying to do a quarterly thing. Clearly that didn't work out, but I was going back over everything that I read last year and I thought I hadn't read enough. I thought I hadn't been reading much, but going over what I found, I actually read a lot. Let's see. 13 books since that last book recommendation video, which is more than I thought. I thought it was going to be like 5. So give me a break or a round of applause, whichever. I will take it. Most recently, I read Jumpman, which is this YA novel about time travel. But it's as if in our 21st century, someone from year 3000 comes to our time. They're used to time traveling, but they're like, why am I in icky year 2000? And he's supposed to be invisible. He's supposed to not be seen. He's not supposed to touch anything or interact with anyone. But the moment he lands, he's visible. And he's like, oh, shoot, you can see me? And they're like, yeah. Why is your hair green? Anyway, so I remember reading it when I was in middle school, I think. And I constantly kept thinking about it, like, what was the name? What was the name? I kept calling it Jumpstick or Jump something. It was called Jumpman. The first one is called Rule Number One, Don't Touch Anything. Loved it. Upon reread, still love it. I already took out the second one, so, which is rule number 2, don't even think about it. So I'm excited for that. And then I read The Book Thief by Marcus Sussex. It was honestly beautiful and it made me fall in love with reading all over again. It's following the life of this German girl who gets adopted by this German family during the time of Hitler's Germany, and as the war is taking place, as she is growing up in the middle of bombings, in the middle of a lot of loss. But while it follows her, the teller of the story is Death himself, herself, and I believe himself. Yeah, and it's beautiful the way Death sees things, but then also how Death keeps coming across her, and even though he's seen a lot and encountered a lot of people, her story itself, her own story, also affects him. And I read Matilda by Roald Dahl, and it was so good. I love the movie Matilda. It's not like I've rewatched it, but I love it. And it's so cool seeing the differences between the movie and what's in the book, because in the book, Matilda, she doesn't use her powers as much. In Matilda the movie, you see all these things like hovering around her and like moving around, but in the book, she doesn't use her abilities that much. And it kind of comes only in the instance when she's at the school, and then spoiler, it her abilities go away once she's in a safer and more loving environment. And I'm like, that's cute. But I also like the idea of her keeping her powers. So so that was really cute. And then there was The School Story by Andrew Clements. And The School Story was so much fun to reread. I read that. Actually, I had a copy growing up and I would constantly reread it. And I think that might be the reason why I've always wanted to be a writer. It's possible. But it's this young girl who, her and her best friend's the daughter of a lawyer and she loves to talk and argue. Meanwhile, she's more quiet and she loves to write. One day she writes a story that she shares with her friend, and her friend's like, this is amazing. I love it. You need to publish it. I believe in it. And she's like, girl, calm down. But then her friend actually helps her orchestrate this whole thing so that they can get her published. Then we have Stargirl and the sequel, Love Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. Very, very beautiful stories. I love Stargirl. It's from the perspective of this guy who goes to the school where he knows he's ordinary. There's a popular people, everyone has their cliques, but in comes this new girl who has no clique. She has no space that she falls into. She's her own person. She's not trying to be popular. She's not trying to be normal. She's not trying to be anything but herself. And in doing so, she kind of creates this revolution in the school, but then it also ends up backfiring on her. However, she doesn't care because she wasn't trying to fit in and she wasn't trying to create a revolution. What she did created something that, in the eyes of other people, then backfired on her, but did she really care? So I loved that perspective on individuality and also this pull towards probably all of our inner child and this reminder of who we were before we let social cues and norms and all these things get us down. Loved it. Love Stargirl was honestly a bit heartbreaking, but it was just so beautiful and innocent, but also sad. Yeah. And then Scott Westerfield's Uglies. I loved the Uglies series, but trying to reread this, I didn't finish. I did not finish. It was missing something, or maybe I don't know if it was me. I don't know if the timing of me trying to read it was wrong. So I eventually accepted my fate and decided to DNF it because I could not. And it could just be that I loved it so much as a teenager that I wanted it to be me, but it could have also been the book. Then I read the Diaries of Adam and Eve by Mark Twain, which was the Diaries of Adam and Eve, as Adam came first and then Eve comes along and they're trying to name the animals and they're getting into these little spats. He doesn't love her at first and she's very clingy. She wants to talk, and he's like, I just want to be alone in the wild with my animals. And he's like, she's naming them these ugly names. And it was very, what's the word? Not pessimistic, but not as optimistic a view of love or original love, I guess. While I don't agree with it necessarily, I did love the way that it ends with the way that Adam writes it to describe their love as something where they became one. It's not like they just were one, they became one in the end. Next, we have, I believe in the previous video, I'd already talked about the Delirium series, Delirium trilogy. So I'd read the first book, and then following it up now, I read the second one, Pandemonium, and the third one, Requiem. Having finished them, the best one I would say was the first one. The second and third were a bit disappointing, and those were by Lauren Oliver. Then I tried to read Pretty Little Liars by Sarah Shepard because I watched the whole series, although I don't remember all of it perfectly. So I was curious to know what the author originally intended. And I picked up that first book, I opened it up, and I don't think I even made it halfway. I don't think I even made a quarter of the way. I think I got maybe like 20 to 30 pages in, and then I couldn't. I will talk about that another time, but I couldn't. Then there was I Am Still Alive. Oh, by Kate Alice Marshall. That one was, like you watch those survival movies where someone's plane crashes and in the mountains they have to survive, or they get lost in the woods and they're trying to make it, and maybe there's someone coming after them with a machete. I don't know, but that's kind of what this was. But it was kind of like the stakes were exponential because the main character goes into into this wilderness already injured from something completely different, and then steps into this new wilderness situation that's supposed to be her new life, but then something else happens to make it even more critical. It was just kind of like, okay, here are the stakes, and then new stakes, and then new stakes, and then more. And then I also kind of felt like more backstory was needed, and like some of the things didn't really make sense, but I enjoyed it enough. I didn't like the ending though. I did not like the ending. And then lastly was Any Other Family by Eleanor Brown, and it's this story coming from three different 3 different perspectives about these adopted kids who all come from one woman. Her first child she gave to one lady. Her twins she gave to another lady, and then her last child ended up going with another family. So one is just a single mother, single adopted mother. The second one who had the twins, it's an older couple, and then the last one is a younger couple who has this newborn child, and how they're trying to make this a family so that the children, the siblings, can still be siblings. So they have these events, these gatherings, so that the kids can all still know each other. They're calling their siblings as parents, auntie, uncle, all of that. And how the kids get along. The kids get along with the adults, and the kids get along with the adults of their siblings. However, it's the adults that don't always get along. And honestly, I did not enjoy it that much. The characters felt a little flat and not quite as realistic. But all in all, that is what I read for the past, well, since April of last year. I'm going to be more on it. So overall, I do highly, highly, highly recommend Jumpman by James Valentine, The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, Matilda, Roald Dahl, The School Story by Andrew Clements, Stargirl, Love Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli, The Diaries of Adam and Eve by Mark Twain, and Delirium by Lauren Oliver. The first book, the end. That's what I recommend. If you've read any of these, let me know. Give me your opinions down below. We can hash it out. But anyway, overall, I do this because I love talking about books and the books that I love. So until next time, allegedly next week. Bye.